everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Brianna. I am a certified personal trainer, a big, huge biology nerd, and a registered dietitian to be. Today we're shifting gears just a little bit and talking about a bold, progressive, and slightly touchy topic: intuitive eating. We're going to be discussing the good, the bad, and the social media. To support some of my points, I'll be sharing a couple clips from a Beachbody coach who, in my opinion, fails miserably at intuitive eating. Some of my opinions may surprise you, so stay tuned. Before we proceed, if you love science-based health, wellness, and fitness education with some lulls along the way, please hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Without further ado, let's get started. So I want to start this video off by kind of establishing a few things about myself before people jump in the comments and prejudge me. You all know I'm in school to be a registered dietitian. I want to specialize in bariatric and diabetes care. Bariatric means relating to or specializing in the study of obesity. I'm also a certified personal trainer. I've helped many people not just lose weight, but just, get healthier, get stronger, get faster, all that kind of good stuff. Just improve their physical being. I find the science and psychology of obesity fascinating. And as a personal trainer and an aspiring bariatric RD, it just really warmed my heart to think that I can be a part of somebody's, not just their weight loss journey, but just the journey of them improving their health and their overall well-being. I believe in diet culture. I believe that Beachbody is diet culture. Detox teas are diet culture. Waist trainers are diet culture. However, somebody wanting to make healthy changes to improve their life, to improve their well-being, or to even alter their body physically, assuming it's their choice and assuming they're doing it in a healthy way, I don't believe that that's diet culture. I don't believe that me choosing water over soda is diet culture. I don't believe that practicing moderation is diet culture. If you are unhappy and in a poor state of mental health, losing weight will not fix you. If you are of sound mind and healthy enough to do so and want to lose weight, whether that be for medical necessity or for aesthetic reasons, you should go for it, but make sure you've got a good support network behind you. You can love yourself but still want to change. I have been slightly overweight before. I lost 20 pounds. I didn't diet. I ate all the foods I still wanted to, just less of them. No keto, no shakes, no crazy methods. Just eating less and training more intensely in the gym. I just wanted all that information out there before anybody makes any assumptions about me. Let's move on. So what is intuitive eating? Basically, intuitive eating is an approach to eating that has nothing to do with dieting or restriction. It teaches you how to get in touch with your body while listening to your hunger, fullness, and satisfaction while trusting yourself around food. When I hear this definition, to me this sounds a lot like something that I would call like diet recovery or like diet rehab for people who have been chronic dieters their whole life. Chronic dieters, or also I sometimes call them serial dieters, don't know how to live without food rules. It's really unfortunate, but a lot of chronic dieters find themselves in this position because after years or even a lifetime of chronic dieting, they don't know how not to diet, basically. Intuitive eating was developed by two registered dietitians named Evelyn Treebowl and Elise Resch, in the 90s. The following points are my opinions. Let's talk about the good. It helps people relinquish themselves of any ideas they might have on food rules. For example, no eating after 8 p.m. or carbs are bad, stuff like that. Another pro is that it teaches people how not to allow food to control the choices they make every day. For example, avoiding social gatherings because you're afraid of all the food that's gonna be there and you don't trust yourself not to stuff your face. Now let's talk about some of the bad. Because intuitive eating is something that has to be learned, somebody has to have a complete 1000% healed, healthy relationship with food and with their body. Otherwise, it's possible that intuitive eating can cause either extreme weight loss or extreme weight gain. For example, someone who's battled with binge eating disorder and or obesity their entire life will hear one of the principles of intuitive eating, which I believe one of them is honor your hunger. They will hear that and they will just not stop eating. They don't know how to listen to their hunger cues because they have been overeating for their entire lives. I can recall watching an episode of My 600-Pound Life. Dr. Now was, he's a bariatric surgeon. He was actually in the process of surgery. He pulled out somebody's stomach while doing gastric bypass. Their stomach was so big and long and it was really stretched out. Their stomach has gotten stretched out through years and years and years of overeating. Now for a lot of us who are of, smaller size, like normal size, dare I say, our stomachs aren't super stressed out because we're not eating, 6 large pizzas a day, which sounds crazy, but I've seen an episode of My 600-Pound Life where the person said that it was normal for him to eat 6 or 7 large pizzas a day. The average person could not do that. I'm full after 3 slices. I can't imagine eating that much pizza. But because he had been overeating for years, his stomach was so stretched out that he didn't start to feel full until like 5 or 6 pizzas later. Conversely, someone who's not fully recovered from anorexia, that person may ignore their hunger cues because they are still dealing with underlying issues of their eating disorder. So in the case of using intuitive eating for weight management, I think it could really backfire. The next bad of intuitive eating, in my opinion, is, and this is kind of piggybacking off the last thing I said, it's really easy to overeat. One of the principles of intuitive eating is to honor your hunger. But I think a problem with that is I've never seen anyone who, claims to be an intuitive eating person in social media help people distinguish between hunger and boredom, or hunger and emotions. A lot of us are emotional eaters, and a lot of people, especially working from home nowadays, that a lot of people are doing, a lot of people have a tendency to eat when they are bored. And I'm not pointing the finger at anybody. I do that sometimes. So many of us will be sitting around at home all day, working from home, which a lot of us are doing right now. We will think that we are hungry when really we're just bored and need something constructive to do. So that's how I think telling someone to honor their hunger can really backfire. Teach people how to distinguish between hunger and boredom, hunger and emotion. I also hear many proponents of intuitive eating tell people to listen to your body. I have an issue with this as well, because this can also backfire in a really big way. More often than not, because we are humans with emotions and desires, the desires of our minds will overpower the needs of our physical body. For example,
I also don't believe in choosing between dessert and drinks. I'm about to make an Aperol Spritz. I already had 2 cookies. But also John made me my superfood shake, and I will probably have like chicken and kale for dinner because that's what sounds good. Cookies, alcohol, superfoods, nutrition. I just don't like, I hate that society has overcomplicated this so much. Just eat what sounds good. Your body will tell you. It's very smart.
So first off, I want to say that I do agree with a couple of her points. I don't agree that you should label foods as good or bad. I think this line of thinking can lead to a bad relationship with food, and I will get into that a little bit more in a minute. Anyway, her saying eat what feels good. Then she said cookies and alcohol and chicken and kale in her superfood shake, which I assume is a Shakeology shake because she's a Beachbody coach. To me, this does not align with the principles of intuitive eating. Eating this because it feels good. No. Eating what you want always feels good. It feels amazing whenever I eat fudge-covered Oreos, but does my body necessarily need those fudge-covered Oreos? No, and I can admit that, but it feels good to eat them. You've all probably heard of those studies. Eating junk food fires off all kinds of crazy neurotransmitters in your brain, and I think I've read some places that it's comparable to doing drugs. So yeah, of course eating what you want to eat feels good, but does your body really need that though? I do agree with her saying that our bodies are smart because our bodies are smart. Mostly. But then we hear her say, oh, it sounds good to have alcohol. I cannot think of a single situation in which the human body needs alcohol. Now, I know a lot of healthcare professionals watch my videos. If you guys know of a single situation in which the human body needs alcohol, please chime off in the comments because I genuinely need to know, please. But anyway, this is an excellent example of what the point I was trying to get at. Her mind wants alcohol. Alcohol sounds good to her mind, but how do you think alcohol sounds to her liver? Her liver and her mind would probably kind of clash on if that alcohol really sounds good. But filming YouTube videos? That was my man calling me. But it's her mind and her conscience that are talking to her, telling her that alcohol sounds good. Her liver can't talk to her. Her mind can talk to her. Now, of course, individual situations aside, for most of us in general, one drink is perfectly okay. But the point I'm trying to make is I perceive this to be she is using intuitive eating to justify drinking. And this rounds back to my point about the desires of her mind have overpowered the needs of her physical body. So let's move on to one of the next topics related to this, the social media. Because of social media, millions of people worldwide have a platform to interpret things the way they want to fit their narrative, if they have one, and then release their opinions out at mass scale. We just read about the origins of intuitive eating, but how often do you see people using intuitive eating to justify eating whatever they want without any consequences?
Hey guys, editing Brianna here. So I actually wanted to take this moment to discuss a couple of posts that I think highlight really well some of the points about intuitive eating that I don't like. The following images you're about to see were sent to me in my DM, so thank you to the person who sent me these, and they are from a registered dietitian who is who preaches very strongly intuitive eating and things like that. And from what I can tell, she is not certified in it. The Certified Intuitive Eating Educator, I think it's called, is a certification that I'll actually talk about it a little bit toward the end of the video. But from what I can tell from the information in her bio, I don't believe she holds that certification. She is, however, a registered dietitian. So the following images you're about to see are taken directly from this person's Instagram page. So this clip, it looks like, highlights what she says is basically intuitive eating. Order something off the menu, eat past fullness because it was good. And then the end here, eating past fullness is fine because IE is not the hunger/fullness diet. You'll eat tomorrow. And so that no one can say that I'm misinterpreting her picture, here is the caption. She just says, intuitive eating is not the hunger-fullness diet. If you go out to eat and eat past fullness, that is completely normal. You can eat past fullness if, and then she just lists a few reasons why you can eat past fullness, and the last one is just because. There's no education on moderation and why moderation is okay and why you actually kind of to some degree need it. Here's another post kind of just highlighting some of the points I was trying to make earlier. Also, my neighbor just decided to start weed whacking, so sorry about that horrific noise in the background. She's just talking about fruit in this post, and then she has do's and don'ts, and under do's, she has eat as much as you want. And, again, there's that no regard for moderation at all. Of course, for most of us, fruit is perfectly okay, but you can still have too much of a good thing, and I just don't see that being taught here. Here's the last post I wanted to show you guys from this person. She's comparing calorie tracking to intuitive eating. Under calorie tracking, she goes out to a restaurant, orders salad to stay on quote-unquote track, and then goes home and binges. And then under intuitive eating, she goes out to a restaurant, orders whatever you're craving, and then enjoys the rest of the day without binging. The biggest issue I have with this is, I count my calories sometimes when I'm specifically going toward goals. For example, I'm counting calories right now because I have some fat loss goals. And when I go to restaurants, I'm sometimes tracking what I'm eating, but I never order a salad. My favorite thing to order at a restaurant is actually a nice fat steak, and then maybe some rice or mashed potatoes, and then a side vegetable. You don't have to get a salad to eat healthy, and I hate that mentality. Lastly, she is under the assumption that because I'm eating a little bit less for whatever reason, I must be miserable and sad and starving, and I'm immediately going to go home and binge. This may be the case for some people who have unresolved relationship issues with food, but for me, for example, this is not the case for me. Like I said, I order my steak and my rice and my veggie, and I'm very happy with that. And that's the end of it, because when I am trying to lose weight, I do not restrict myself to the point that I feel like I want to binge. I still allow myself to eat the foods that I eat. I just practice moderation. Anyway, I just wanted to showcase this person as an example of the point I was trying to make about how a lot of people I see in social media are using intuitive eating to justify eating whatever you want. There's no education on moderation. There's no teaching people on how to distinguish between hunger and boredom and hunger and emotion and things like that. It's just eat whatever you want, whenever you want. It doesn't matter. But the fact of the matter is it actually does matter. There are actually huge health ramifications for eating a certain diet, and they usually come about in chronic disease, which thousands, millions of people suffer with worldwide every day. And more often than not, chronic disease is actually brought upon by poor lifestyle, which includes dietary choices.
What are my personal thoughts on intuitive eating, and will I call myself an intuitive eating RD? I think at its original core, intuitive eating was born out of a way of basically, like I said, helping rehabilitate people from diet culture, from helping people who have been chronic serial dieters their entire lives actually learn how to live without dieting. And honestly, that's an amazing thing. My thoughts on intuitive eating in 2020, however, are It's trendy. In the context of health, nutrition, wellness, and fitness and all that kind of stuff, how often do we go on someone's Instagram profile and see intuitive eating in their title? I've already told you guys the pros and cons that I perceive about intuitive eating. I just think it can be a really slippery slope to say to someone, listen to your body or honor your hunger. Because once again, the desires of our minds will overpower the needs of our physical body. Even though there is an intuitive eating certification through the intuitiveeating.org website, I think that's what it's called. Either way, it's a legitimate website. It's an intuitive eating, it's an intuitive eating counselor certification. There has been research into intuitive eating. My problem with it is kind of the Beachbody coach versus the personal trainer and the holistic nutritionist versus the registered dietitian kind of thing. You can learn how to do it right through the certification course, or you can interpret it how you want to interpret it and then try to teach people your own version of it, which at that point, is it even still intuitive eating? For example, that Beachbody coach that we just listened to, she has her own definition of intuitive eating, which in my opinion is so far off from the original meaning. The current opinions and knowledge and education that I have now, I have no plans to declare myself an intuitive eating RD once I become a dietitian. And that's because I don't like labels. I'm just kidding. I want to specialize in weight loss and diabetes care. So I don't want to just do intuitive eating, you know? I don't want to just say to people, oh, honor your hunger, listen to your body. I want to teach people what a fad diet is and why they're stupid and why you shouldn't do them. Instead of telling people that pizza's bad and broccoli is good, I want to educate you and just tell you that, hey, pizza's not bad. It just doesn't have the same nutritional profile as broccoli. It has higher calories, it has more fat than broccoli. Broccoli has more nutrients and vitamins to give you and it has fewer calories, but it's not bad. It's just a different food. I want to teach people moderation and show people the difference between one slice of pizza and the whole pizza. Because really, we all need moderation. Moderation is part of the human experience, and honestly, without it, there are consequences. There's nothing wrong with having moderation.
There were some really good things. Like, I feel like it is crazy how just the diet culture is just webbed into our every fiber of our being, every thought that we think, and we think that we're saying something good. Like, someone was like, yeah, because I was like, you can have whatever you want whenever you want, and someone commented and said like, yeah, everything in moderation. I'm like, but that's diet culture. Like, someone else what do you mean by everything in moderation, right? Like, because if it's up to,
Hey guys, moderation is not diet culture, okay? Having 2 drinks as opposed to the 5 you normally have, that's not diet culture. It's a healthy form of moderation, because the hangover you may get and the resulting sickness you may get from drinking too much is the direct result of you not practicing moderation. And also, I just want to add that these words are very, very rich coming from a Beachbody coach, especially when you consider that Beachbody has a program that teaches people how to use stupid little containers to moderate their calorie intake. This video is not like an anti-MLM video, but I mean, honestly, I could really make a whole video on that person and intuitive eating. I see pros and cons to intuitive eating, but I see this person as like so far off base from intuitive eating. She's involved with Beachbody. Like, I cannot think of a bigger diet culture organization than a company like Beachbody. And like, she's like, oh, it's diet culture to say eat in moderation. Like, no, it's not. I'm sorry, did you forget that your company endorses the 21-day fix? What about the 3-day refresh? Don't even get me started on that thing. Like, the hypocrisy from her, like, it's just crazy. And if we're speaking directly on this person, like, I'm just gonna say it, I think she's just capitalizing on the trend, like I said before, of intuitive eating. She's using her large following and her exposure to preach something that doesn't even apply to her as a way to garner more income. I said what I said. So, in conclusion, at its core, I think the birthplace of intuitive eating came with good intentions. But as I talked to you guys about my personal problems with it, I just think there's too many ways that it can backfire. I think for healthy weight loss and weight management, mental health issues need to be taken care of alongside of dietary issues. If you overeat as a way to deal with a past trauma and then take an intuitive eating course to learn how to eat intuitively and learn more about it, the principles will probably work for a while, but they won't work for long, because eventually you'll revert back to your old ways. Why though? Because you haven't healed your trauma, and the only way you know how to cope with it is food, which is not healthy. So I think influencers preaching intuitive eating when they themselves clearly have no idea what it is quite reckless and irresponsible, frankly. All right, guys, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you so very much for watching. I really appreciate it. What else? Follow me on IG. You know what? I never ever plug my Poshmark. I'm on Poshmark too. I love Poshmark. It helps me kind of get out my shopping wiggles, and it's a fun way to make some extra cash too. So if you're on Poshmark, you should like follow me. I list new stuff every day. I will link my Poshmark closet below. Like and subscribe for more science-based health, wellness, and fitness education, which includes some diet and fitness fails, some anti-MLM stuff where we debunk all the dumb stuff Humbots say. If you liked me and you enjoyed this video, you should hit the like button. If you didn't like me, you can hit the dislike button, but I implore you to wait about another 5 seconds and I'm gonna feature my dogs. And then you can upvote it just for my dogs, that's fine too. Once again, thank you very much for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Hey, it's my Zeus. It's my Zeus. Hey, baby. Oh, it's the boys. The boys are in here. Where's your sister? You guys kicked her out? Ah, you sit? You're so good. Oh my God, you're such a stud. You are so handsome. Hey, hey. Can you say bye? Can you say bye? Can you say bye? Thank you. Bye.